And we're back. What an interesting week 5. The Stars performed, but a lot of injuries, a lot to go through, Bish. But before we get into it, if you don't watch our betting show that goes out on Friday nights, Bish has hit 3 out of 3. He's had a fantastic. We've had a rough start between us, but he's hit his 3 out of 3. He predicted it, but has he got Bish? Are you with us? And we're back. Bish, different location. I was just saying how well you've done on the betting channel. You landed 3 out of 3. Really buzzing after a tough start we had on that Friday night show, but you've done it. I think I landed 2 out of 3 if you give me half a point because a player, Jameer Gibbs, didn't end up playing, so I'll give myself a 1.5, 2. I don't know, Bish. I don't know how lenient you are with. We had a good week anyway. Well done, Bish. You killed it, and yeah, everyone watched the betting show as well because Bish has got some brilliant bets, and you can have a laugh with mine and laugh at me on the week after.
We weren't far off. Tag was a Mark Andrews fingertip away from nailing his treble as well. So. Good signs, hopefully. We're all there or thereabouts. Like I said, we got that first full house, so hopefully we can kick on for the rest of the year.
Getting on to the fantasy, Bish. We've got a tough. There's a match actually tonight, and it's got massive fantasy implications. I'm kind of plugging myself here, but it's me versus Tag as the first one. There's currently 2 points between it. He's 2.5. He's on 91.96. I'm on 88.08. We're both one player left to play, Bish. I've got Christian Watson. Tagger's got Luke Musgrave. What's your thoughts, Bish? Where are you going with?
I've let you down here, Anna, because obviously, just for those that don't know, I've put out a social media post with the course matchups, and Tag actually had Aaron Jones in his lineup. So whether that's triggered him to have a look at his team or not, I don't know. So I can only apologise for that, Joe. Obviously, that wasn't the intention. I was trying to build up that close finish. So yeah, he's gone with Musgrave in their tight end. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, Christian Watson for yourself coming back. I think it should be a close encounter. If you can jag a touchdown off Watson, I think you might be home and dry. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the highlights of the Green Bay game tonight. But it's not the only close one, Bish, is it? I believe yours, the second one, you versus Jordan Lane. You've got Josh Jacobs to play. Laney doesn't have anyone, but he is currently 9 points. No, that's 8 points.
8 and a bit, I think. Yeah, it's. I got bailed out, I must admit. All the talk of Trevor Lawrence, I actually benched him this week, and it's come back to bite me because I put Josh Dobbs in and he only got 10 points. So I dropped 5 points there. But then the 49ers defense pulled it around for me, got me 16 points overnight, which was great for me. And it's brought me back into contention now. Like I said, we need just over 8 points from Josh Jacobs. We talked about him early on in the year as not starting very well, and then he had a steady-ish game last week, although mostly through his receiving work. So I'm hoping that can continue tonight, and we can jag that just over 8 points that I need to keep the pressure on the boys at the top, just in case what happens tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, I've undefeated so far, so I'm nervous. But based just on your one, just Jacobs obviously is against Green Bay Packers. Packers can't stop the run, Bish. I think you've comfortably got that, unless something crazy happens to Jacobs. Again, I'll find a bit of wood to touch, but unless something crazy happens, I think he's comfortably got 8 points in the bag. They're not very good at stopping the run. It's the one weakness along that Packer team. And I think you might be going 4-1 this weekend, Bish, but I won't push it too much because you'll
fingers crossed.
if it doesn't.
You never know the game script. If somehow Green Bay come out flying, and then the Raiders have got to catch up. Who knows what could happen, but yeah, I've running back one from last year, the main man last year. I'm hoping he can get me 8 points.
Yeah, and he's getting better and better each week. And as you said, I think he's looking good. And against a weakened run defense, Bish, let's see you at 4-1. I'll probably be at 5-0. And if Tag's watching this post tonight, actually, and watch it when it comes out tomorrow, he'll be laughing at me if I've lost there. Well, let's get straight into it, Bish. Quite a few injuries. Let's get into the injury report. Start us off with your first player.
I think I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson straight off here. The big one, the quarterback for the Colts, and it's one of those. He's come in. He's an athletic player, but he got concussed a couple of weeks ago, and now he's a bit similar to Derek Carr last week. He's been tackled, been squashed, and I think they've been speaking. It's a grade 3 AC sprain, which potentially could be a month out at least. So, tough news for the rookie. It didn't stop the Colts getting the win. Gardner Minshew came in and as we've said on this show, he's one of the better backups in this league who probably could start, I believe. So, does it change much? I mean, we're going to see less running from Minshew. He's in the pocket passer. Josh Downs has been his favourite target when he's been playing this season. He had a big game at the weekend, 6 receptions for 97 yards. So he's a solid target. And if anything, it opens it up a bit more for Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. So no running from Minshew, but Taylor thrown back in there may get that extra work.
Yeah, I think it's massive. Sorry, I shouldn't say massive. I'm going to exaggerate. I think it does have good implications as a fantasy team. And I hate to say that, obviously, for a player to be injured. But I think it probably upgrades everyone on that Colts team just 1 or 2 points higher. Like you said, because he's not running and he's a pocket passer, then wide receivers are going to be happier. They're going to be getting more ball because Anthony Richardson's going to be running. That part of the offense, I think, obviously, when he got injured, it was a designed run play for Anthony Richardson. Minshew's going to have no designed run plays, as you said. So I think that upgrades the running back, upgrades the wide receiver room, probably upgrades the tight ends. And obviously, it is sad because he is injured, but yeah, as a fantasy player, you're probably a bit more excited about the Colts. And if you've got any ownership in any of them Colts wide receivers, which you may do, I don't think there'll be many, but they'll probably be coming to that flex contention now. And then obviously, as you said, Zach Moss and the man Taylor is you're starting to get juicy lips, aren't you, Bish? I think you're thinking, wow, if that it's in play now, take all them designed runs for Richardson and put them in Jonathan Taylor or even Zach Moss's hands this year. You're buzzing. You're so excited.
Yeah, Matty Grimes thought Jonathan Taylor was coming back this week and would set the world alight for his fantasy team, and it didn't quite happen for him. I think 57 points is the lowest we've had this year, so he's had a tough week, Matty Grimes. So we'll be hoping that this news brings Jonathan Taylor back into contention a bit more.
Bish, I'll take you through my one, and it's probably the number one fantasy player in the NFL. It's Justin Jefferson. Picked up a bit of a nasty-looking hamstring injury, Bish. I don't think there's an official, as the last time I checked, I don't think there's an initial report on how long it definitely will be. Have you seen anything yet?
No, it came quite late in the game, didn't it? So I think it's just a case of getting him assessed and seeing how that goes this week. Generally, if you play Sunday, you'd think that Monday they'd get the MRI scans and stuff. So maybe the next 12 to 24 hours we'll probably hear something, I think.
Yeah, but they said it by the eye test, it doesn't look brilliant. I think they're thinking it'll be multiple weeks off, which is obviously, as if you're a Justin Jefferson owner, you're probably absolutely devastated by this news. In many leagues, he was the number one pick. Where did he go in ours? Did he go number one? I got a thing like he might be number 3.
He was up there. He might have gone number 1. I think Isaac picked him number 1, yeah.
So you've got number one pick in most NFL drafts. One of the, like you said, the cornerstone of most players' teams. I think you're nervous. If you're a Jordan Addison owner or a KJ Osborne owner, you're getting more excited. I've got a bit of stake in Jordan Addison. Again, can't say I'm happy about him getting injured, but I'm definitely excited for what Addison showed. By the end of the game, again, Kirk Cousins turned to Addison when Justin were injured. I think he got 5 receptions after Justin Jefferson were injured. And I think Addison fans will trade high, go get him, because you've got a guaranteed. I think you've got a guaranteed very high workload for the next couple of weeks, probably at a minimum from what the initial thoughts of his injury are coming across.
Yeah, and he's he likes a touchdown, doesn't he? Kirk Cousins likes Addison in that end zone. Obviously, TJ Hockenson will get some more work as well. So, yeah, it's any one of their passing threats. I think it's worth picking up. Like you said, KJ Osborne might be an interesting waiver pickup to see what happens with how long Jefferson's out for. Because yeah, he's a big loss to not only the NFL but obviously to the Vikings, because Cousins for us, they chase games constantly, so it'll be a big loss.
Yeah, and to be honest, the another negative that might actually be to Kirk Cousins himself. I'm not as confident if you are wavering and streaming quarterbacks. If you didn't pick a quarterback in the first 8 or so rounds, you'll probably be thinking, I'm not as confident in Kirk Cousins because that guaranteed wide receiver catch that Justin Jefferson is, guaranteed 8 to 9 catches. When Cousins looks up, he throws it to one man mainly, and one man when he's nervous, and it goes to Justin Jefferson. Will the offense run as smoothly? Will it be as effective? I guess time will tell. I guess it depends how much Addison and Osborne step up. But yeah, I think for at least the next week, I'm not streaming Kirk Cousins in my lineups.
Yeah, it's a big call. The only thing with that is I'd say is the defense is that bad. He's going to have to throw it to someone. Like literally, has to. So yeah, but obviously it hurts him massively. You take one of the best wide receivers out of your team, without a doubt. It's going to hurt whoever you are. So yeah, obviously being a fan of the NFL, hopefully it's not a long injury, and I'm sure we'll hear something in the coming days.
Yeah, Bish, second injury, please.
My second one, I was torn on this one, but I'm gonna go with Zay Jones for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Weeks 3 and 4, he was actually missing with a knee injury, and then he comes back, and although he jags a touchdown and a few catches, he misses time again with a knee injury. So I think it's back to the MRI scans for him. But just with the way the Jags are, what I hoped at the beginning of the season, them throwing the ball about, as we've said a number of weeks, I've been a bit down on them, but it seemed to be this week where they came out swinging. And Lawrence is sort of targeting everyone, really. You've got Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Zay Jones obviously got some work, so he's out. So I don't think I'm not really sure who it helps in terms of what focus, is there a player who'll step up? I'm not sure, because I think the work will get distributed about, which it has been doing already. So if anything, it's obviously one less mouth to feed with Zay Jones out there, but it could be Ridley, it could be Kirk, it could be, Evan Ingram. So I'm not really sure there's anyone who is available who you can pick up who this one would benefit, but it sort of obviously takes Zay Jones out and maybe adds a few extra receptions or targets to the other 3.
Yeah, I think you've covered it nicely there, Bish. Don't really have, Zay Jones. Yeah, he's been good, and he's had some good moments, and I think we've followed the Jaguars a lot on this show. Probably being the UK based team, probably holds a bit more emphasis for us, and they got it going. So happy for him. Sad about Jones, but hopefully Ridley owners and like you said, Christian Kirk owners do see a bit of an uptick in a mediocre year for them so far, an up and down year, I think, so far. I'll end it on a bit of good news, Bish, for fantasy fans. It's Saquon Barkley is reportedly to be definitely back in week 6. They thought maybe he'd be back this weekend, but he's meant to be back in week 6. I'm mainly bringing this one up is because we've seen how bad that offense is. I think it's with some of the worst defensive teams I think I've seen in years. They're the worst. They're the worst. We've got the Patriots out there. We've got some bad teams. Even the Panthers, I guess, have been up and down. We've got some bad teams on offense this year for whatever reason. These topped a lot. I think Saquon Barkley owners will be excited because then wide receivers aren't flying. Daniel Jones as a quarterback just isn't showing that money that he got paid, the hundreds of millions that he got paid in the offseason. It's not paying off, and I think this might give a massive uptick to Saquon Barkley. We saw how ineffective Matt Breida was at the weekend. I think he's definitely got a ceiling because the offense isn't good enough. But I'm happy he's back, and hopefully he can give any hope to this offense and take some eyes off some of them receivers, open them up a bit more, and let some form of offense. Because I still don't believe they've had a offensive touchdown yet, and it's been 2 defensive touchdowns so far this year to start them off.
They are struggling massively out there. As you said, they've had some tough games, but struggling. And to add things, Saquon Barkley comes back, but it looks like Daniel Jones is spending some time on the sideline with a neck injury. So again, they're not getting those breaks in terms of injuries. But there's, as you said, there is some poor offenses out there, and it's a close toss up between these and the Patriots. I think at the minute for the worst. So hopefully Barkley can take the team on his shoulders, and he's going to have to really, and otherwise it's going to be a long year for him.
Yeah, it's quite sad, wasn't it? You saw the progression over the last couple of years. A couple of years ago, they were again really bad on offense. Barkley's been up and down with injuries. It seemed like they got something going last year, and to watch it just evaporate this quickly, it's pretty staggering, isn't it? It's quite sad. So hopefully Barkley gets them going again and opens up some of them receivers to at least see some offensive touchdowns this year.
Just getting Waller into the game. He came on a little bit this week, but a big target like that, you've brought him in, get him the ball.
We'll go on to fantasy flops, Bish. Who's your first fantasy flop?
My first fantasy flop is someone we've talked about for a few weeks now, James Cook, the Buffalo Bills. So they came over here for the London game against the Jags, flew in on the Friday, I think, didn't spend much time here. And it looked like from the start of the game that a lot of them were still on the plane, still struggling with that jet lag, because the Jags came out and absolutely blitzed them early. And I think that sort of took away James Cook's sort of game script. I thought he'd get a lot of ball on the ground and they'd run the ball, but he actually had 5 carries for -4 yards, which is, as it says, it's not great at all, is it? So he got a little bit of work in the passing game, but again, he was really a non-factor in the game, which is a bit of a surprise, because he's the last few weeks his workload's been increasing and probably not got that cutting edge. He's been sharing time with Latavius Murray and Damian Harris, but thought he'd get a lot more than the 3.6 points that he put up this weekend.
Yeah, I think the end bit there that you mentioned is the most concerning bit for me. It's the timeshare. It's effectively turning into a timeshare. I think we predicted it was going to be going the other way in the last few shows. He's going to eventually take over. But it looks like they're sticking with this timeshare. Latavius ended up with more rushing yards, more fantasy points. I think same with Damian Harris. They do use him in the receiving side of the thing, the side of the offense, like you mentioned. So that was my one redemption as I was watching it live. But yeah, bloody hell, it's nerve-wracking for me, as I've got James Cook as one of my top running backs, and seeing him in a 3-person timeshare. That's the one rule of fantasy running back: stay away from time. free-to-play player timeshares, and it looks like he's firmly in one, especially if it doesn't quite go to script for him. Looks like the backup is spread it out and use probably the more powerhouse running backs with Latavius and Damian Harris, who are more notorious downhill tough runners. I'll take you on to my fantasy flop, and I'm doing a whole team. I think you did it last week, Bish. You inspired me. I'm doing a. I've got the New England offense, Bish. I'm lost for words, as you can see. I'm stuttering. I've got all the stats up here. Mac Jones is the top scorer this year with 50 points. We've had some receivers do that in one game. We've had Kendrick Bourne with 42, Ramondre Stevenson with 39 points. We're 5 weeks in, Bish. It's petrifying. They're absolutely offering nothing. I know I slaughtered the Giants, but this team is just looking as bad. Mac Jones looks just unplayable at the moment. He's been obviously took off now, subbed off, as the English supporters would say, 2 weeks in a row. My rule now from now on is stay away from every single New England Patriot. I think normally they've got a couple of streamers, a couple of players in flex plays. They've never, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, they've not had a player who I've been excited as a number 1 or 2 wide receiver or even running back. But they've normally got quite a few in them flex positions. Stay away from every single one of these, and don't even attempt to watch it, because I think they've got a lot to figure out. And it might start with finding a quarterback, because Bailey Zappi did not do much different. Did noticeably worse than Mac Jones afterwards, and that was they need to find someone from somewhere to step up, and whether that's Mac Jones, whether that's the running backs who, like you said, Ramondre, Ezekiel Elliott, neither have provided much of anything, and the kicker. I'm just looking now. The kicker, it scores higher than about 5 of the other wide receivers. So I think that shows where they're at as a team. That the kicker is one of the highest scoring on the offensive side of the ball, which is, I think, very concerning.
Yeah, it's very poor. No points this week, only 3 last week. But the puzzling thing for me is Ramondre Stevenson last year, was a workhorse running back. They got rid of Damian Harris. You thinking Ramondre Stevenson's the guy, and at the minute he's splitting carries with Ezekiel Elliott, 50-50, and I'm just not seeing how that's doable really. Why they've come to that decision based on what Ramondre Stevenson did last year. So yeah, unfortunately, I've got Hunter Henry in this, in fantasy. I picked him up. I thought earlier on the sort of showing sort of vibes of the old Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez double tight ends. But yeah, that offense has taken a massive backward step, and I'm in the market for a new tight end come Wednesday waivers.
Yeah, I believe you will be. Bishop. Like you said, it's scary, but stay away from all New England Patriots. Don't stream them, and let them sort out what's going on. Just let them sort out that quarterback situation and the running back room, and then maybe think about it later in the year once there's even more injuries. Bish, take us through your second.
My second one, I'm sticking with my running backs this week, just because the 3 running backs that I nailed on Friday. So I'm taking it out on these poor ones. Najee Harris, again, another running back who he's always been a high volume running back, I think, which has got him his points in fantasy rather than the quality. But I think he's just, I don't know, he's losing a step, or I don't know what it is. The offensive line is not helping him as much, but he had 14 carries for 37 yards against the Ravens. That's like just over 2.5 yards a carry. And he's getting his work eaten into by Jaylen Warren as well, the running back there, who's actually pretty much taken over as the passing down running back, but he's actually now getting on the field as one of the main running backs. He actually had 9 carries for 40 yards as well in that game. So still a bit behind Najee in terms of the numbers, but he's outperforming him in terms of the yards per carry, and he just looks a lot better at the minute for me. So it is a worrying time for Najee owners, I think. Unfortunately, I had to sacrifice Jaylen Warren, and I think it's hurting me now because I could do with him in my team.
Yeah, I was the lucky recipient of that sacrifice, and I was happy. He might have single-handedly saved my fantasy week against Tag, because he's come in. Obviously, I've got Saquon out. James Cook, as my main running back's had a terrible performance, and he stepped up for me, Bish. He stepped up, got me a solid, I think, 8 points, and that's what you're looking for a stream. He did well. He looks even better on the pitch. Yeah. Najee Harris, I don't know what to say. I don't know whether they overused him too early on, and he's just not quite got that same vigor, that same explosion, that power. He was one of the best running backs in college. Came from Alabama, looked unbelievable. I don't know what's happened to him. He just doesn't look that good, Bish, does it? Simply, I don't know. He just doesn't look that good. Jaylen Warren slowly, as you said, week on week. We've mentioned it a couple of weeks now. If Jaylen Warren's still available, go get him for your waiver wires, like I did.
Nice. Yeah.
My final one, Devonta Smith. Just to reiterate a point that we've made a couple of weeks, this Philadelphia Eagles offense, there's that many stars, it's going to get shared around. I want to say what I said before, don't get too nervous. We actually put it up as a debate, didn't we? Do you want a high ceiling or a high floor? I don't think any of these players are going to have that high of a floor, because there's, like I said, AJ Brown, Devonta. You've got the tight end. Bish, help me out.
Dallas got it. He got a big workload against the Rams this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got multiple players there that can be on the receiving game, and obviously they've got they're a running back heavy team as well, and obviously the quarterback himself is a fantastic runner of the ball. So you've just got that many mouths to feed, that one person a week will be a lot lower scoring than the other going into that argument. I don't mind it. I can put up with it as long as he plays well next week, because he's had 2 bad weeks now.
Yeah, AJ Brown seems to be at the minute. I think it actually flips. Like maybe week 2, week 3, it was Devonta Smith getting all the work. AJ Brown want to appear. Now the last few weeks, it's been AJ Brown who's absolutely taken over. So like you said, we said it with the 49ers. It's just week to week. Boom or bust sort of players, but when they hit, generally they're winning you the week.
Yeah. Right, Bish. I think the next segment is your segment, the classic Bish's breakouts. Take us through who your first breakout player of the week is.
Well, my first one, I think. I don't think he scored the most points. I think he scored the second most points. Jamar Chase, 44 points he got this weekend. Set a Bengals single game reception record with 15 catches for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think the biggest one was a 63-yard touchdown pass from Joe Burrow, who's looking a lot better in the pocket. He seems to be moving a lot better, especially was this game. So that can only be great things. And we spoke about T. Higgins being out and what impact that would have. And it's just everything's going to Jamar Chase. I think he said after the game last week, he said, "I'm always open." He might have put some expletives in there as well. But and this week after the game, he posted a picture on his social media of a 7-Eleven store. They're always open, 7-Elevens, aren't they? So yeah, so a bit of humour there. I enjoyed that from him. But yeah, unbelievable. We spoke about Justin Jefferson earlier. This guy's, for me, he's up there as well. So yeah, big week from Jamar Chase, and the Bengals, maybe a bit of a revival coming.
Yeah, certainly looks so. Obviously, Burrow needs to keep performing like he did. It was against a weak team, though, Bish. That's my one worry. I think if the 1 week that they were going to see an uptick, it is this week. I want to see them play one of the better teams in the league and show some of that explosion. But like you said, if Jamar Chase out, he's simply one of the best wide receivers in the league. He looked brilliant. It just made my comment of Tyler Boyd on the waiver wire pick up a bit more embarrassing, because it's not getting spread around. If T. Higgins is out, it's going to, as you said, the one man and one man only.
Yeah, he's a Hoover.
I'll go on my Bishop's breakouts. Along that road, the number one scoring player in fantasy this week, DJ Moore. I don't know where this come from, Bish. Again, I've a lot of speechless performances on the good and bad side of the field this week, and this was one of the good ones. Justin Fields to DJ Moore. It was 8 receptions for 230 yards and 3 TDs, and it should have been 4. It should have been 4. He got disallowed a catch. They said he went out of bounds on review, which normally they always do. On review, he didn't. I don't think he went out, Bish. I don't know if you've got a different opinion, but I think it should have been 4 touchdowns. And yeah, what a game! What a game for DJ Moore! What a game for Justin Fields! It was looking one of them offenses that I said would looked historically bad. This was the Bears were one of them. I don't know where this has come from. It looks like Justin Fields might have gone, let's stop playing. Let's not start spreading it around. Let me just look at DJ Moore. Let me just throw him the ball, and I know he'll make that catch if it's around his vicinity, even if there's a defender in his face.
Yeah, unbelievable. And a big shout out to Sam, the fan in our league, who actually rostered both DJ Moore and Jamar Chase, which gives him his first win of the season. So, yeah, well done to him for having those two in his team.
Wow. What a win, yeah. No, sorry, go on, Bish.
Oh, sorry. Moving on to my second one, I'm torn between 2 running backs here, but because I've lent Jags quite a bit, I'm going to go the other way. So I'm going to go with Zach Moss here for the Colts. And as we spoke about, Jonathan Taylor's back. He signed his new contract. We're all expecting everyone to see Jonathan Taylor pick up from where he left off. But Zach Moss has different ideas. Zach Moss has been, single-handedly just taking every carry for this team in the backfield. And he had an unbelievable game, 32.5 fantasy points, 165 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. And he carried Jonathan Taylor 23 carries to 6. So this obviously bringing Jonathan Taylor back slowly, but with a performance like this from Zach Moss, this is sort of telling me that he's going to have a role in this offense. So, those Jonathan Taylor owners, I think he's going to be eating into your carries there. But fair play to him. He's the last five weeks he's been on fire, hasn't he, for this offense? So and been helping them win games. So yeah, big shout out to Zach Moss.
Yeah, simple as that, isn't it? He's been winning them games. I think that's the statement, isn't it? How good has he been? They probably should have lost a couple of these games. They probably don't have the team to do it, and he's just playing unbelievable. The big question, Bish, obviously you alluded to it. I want your prediction though. What do you think the workload split will be once they get into it with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss?
I think it'll slowly improve. So I think numbers wise, I think I was reading Jonathan Taylor was on the field for around 16% of the snaps.
He was on the snap count, I believe, as well.
Yeah, well, they're going to ease him back in. It's a long year. They've just given him, although they resisted paying him the big money, they've actually given and give him this big money. So, they want to do him right. They don't want him injured straight away. So, yeah, I think it'll probably end up to being like, I'm going to say 60-40, Jonathan Taylor, with a bigger share eventually. And like we said, in this division, the AFC South, it's so tight that, they're quite possibly in the playoff race at the minute, let alone winning the division. So it's a long season. We're 5 games in. Jonathan Taylor had an ankle operation in the off season, so he's not really had a preseason camp. So I think they'll slowly bring him in. But while Zach Moss is doing this, I don't see the rush in terms of upping Taylor's carries too much.
Even if Jonathan Taylor, I think, does come in and take over a lot of the snaps, with being paid the money, kind of has to be highly included in this offense. I think it makes him a massive trade candidate, Bish. I know I've claimed a lot about these trades, and there's not much that have happened. Apart on the defensive side, there's been about 4 or 5 trades last week. I think there were 3 trades last week on the defensive side of the ball, and I think it opens him up for a big trade on one of them teams that might have a running back that's really struggling, maybe like Pittsburgh, depending on where they see Jaylen Warren. I think it opens him up, and I think there'll be a lot of teams after him with how good he's looked. For whatever reason, he's just exploded out of in Buffalo. I never thought he looked that impressive, to be honest with you, Bish. I never once went, wow, that man's getting hard done by Buffalo, but
yeah.
Must have been. I don't want to say must have been, or the type of offense they run. The Colts run just suits him down to the ground. I don't know, but I think he could be on the trade block, and I reckon he might be going somewhere in the season. So I'd keep a hold of him, even if he will get, like you said, reps in the offense. But even if Jonathan Taylor did take over and let's say take 75% of it and really take Zach out of fantasy complicated, he'll still be a brilliant backup. But I reckon if that happens, there'll be a big trade and Zach Moss will be on the team in the next couple of weeks.
Nice, big call. I like it. Yeah, it's just clicking for him, isn't it? Like, I don't know, maybe he's found his team that he likes. He's found the offense that he likes. His life's going well off the field and everything's clicking for him. Who knows what it is, but yeah, it's working. It's working. So, yeah, I'm enjoying watching him play. And like we said, with Gardner Minshew going in there, I think it gives him even more opportunity now to get behind that offensive line, because you've not got to worry about Richardson, running. So, yeah, exciting times.
Yeah. My final one's a man who I've mentioned again in multiple weeks is Adam Thielen. What an amazing year Adam Thielen's having at Carolina. They all wrote him off again. 11 for 13 catches, one touchdown. I think he ended up with 145 receiving yards. It was just brilliant. It was again fantastic for Thielen. I don't know what other compliments I can give him. He's revived his career when he had a tough one last year. So yeah, I'd say my one worry for him is that it might not last. A lot of the touchdown was in garbage time, and I mean, they chucked it on red zone 5 minutes after it happened because the game had already been completely gone, and they were concentrating on the games that were getting more importance in the witching hour, as Scott Hansen said. But they showed it at the end, and yeah, that's when he got his touchdown. So I remember this. It really brings up what happened in Chicago a couple of years ago with I've gone blank. Allen Robinson. 2 years ago, Allen Robinson was a garbage time wide receiver. It's quite my friend Jake had him, who was my roommate. We'd watch him, and you wouldn't see him all game. And in that fourth quarter, he'd end up with 16 to 20 fantasy points and a touchdown, because in garbage time, that's who they just threw to. It didn't last. So that's my one worry with Thielen. It's a one-person example, so it has no mathematical probably importance, but it's just a precautionary tale of don't invest too much, probably don't trade super high, let it play out. I guess my advice would be let Adam Thielen owners enjoy Adam Thielen, because I wouldn't trust that it's a season-long thing that he's going to be this successful. He might be serviceable, but that's my one cautionary tale of this video, Bish.
No, I'd agree with that, because I think in the build-up to this weekend's games, they put a sort of message. Well, I don't know if they put it out, but the message came out, or the rumor came out, that they're looking for a number one wide receiver. So yeah, that's a fair call. Obviously, he's the favourite of Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, whoever's at centre. He's an experienced player who can get himself open and jag touchdowns. So yeah, I suppose if you've got him, keep playing him until he doesn't come up with anything. I'd keep playing him, but just be aware that there's possibilities that they're looking to bring in someone.
Yeah, Bish, we're on to one of our final and favourite parts, the punt projects, the waiver wire pickups.
Waiver wire pickups. So yeah, it's an interesting week this week. So we had 4 teams on waivers last week. There's only 2 teams on buys this week in terms of the Green Bay Packers and the Steelers. So there might not be that much action out there on the waiver wire, because everyone should have their players back. Obviously, Packers, there'll be some players missing there. So I'm actually going to throw up Gardner Minshew here as a possible stream. If you're a Jordan Love owner, you might need someone. Gardner Minshew, the revenge game against the Jags. You know, we love a bit of Minshew mania. So, yeah, you know that is it like I'm going to keep saying it. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's good enough to be in the league. You know, he's come in multiple occasions this year and helped him win games. So if he can throw the ball, as we've said, he doesn't. You're not going to get the running points, but you know, he's an accurate quarterback with some, I think, decent wide receivers in Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, and he's liking Josh Downs quite a bit at the minute. So I think if you need him for 1 week this week against the Jags, who have had 2 games in London and now have got to go back to the States, you know, he might catch him cold a little bit there. So he'd be one that possibly, if you're without Jordan Love and need a quarterback, then Gardner Minshew could be a man.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think you've covered everything there, Bish. I'm excited. As you know, I'm a Minshew mania fan. So, yeah, if you don't, Bish, I will, as they say. I in our league, I stream my quarterback a lot. I do have Jordan Love as one of my quarterbacks. I've also got Geno Smith, but I love a bit of Minshew May, and that storyline is just juicy enough for me to play him for that alone. So, yeah. Another call, Bish. I think we did this last week, and I think I will be spending some of that fab that I've still got so much of on maybe a bit of
Minshew.
My one, I'm only doing one myself, Bish, because I think you've covered it again quite nicely at this point. There's not loads of streamers who I am really excited about. There's a couple of punts, but yeah, I think Amari DiMercado is mine, Bish. With obviously James Conner's injury, they're not going to be rushing James Conner back anytime soon. They're not trying to win this year. They're going for that number 1 pick, clearly, at this point. So I don't think we'll see much of James Conner, if at all. They might just rest him. I've heard someone say it. But Amari, yeah, so they'll need someone to replace them James Conner reps, and it will be this man. There might be another man involved, but they're quite a run-heavy team. And he's the man who looks like he's stepping into that role. So Amari DiMercado, I don't have much more to say about him. Don't really know much about him. I guess we'll find out more, see how good he is. But at the moment, I reckon you'll have a floor with him, as James Conner did, because James Conner had 95% of the attacking workload in the running back room. So now that's gone, it has to go to someone. And hopefully we're all in it together, and Amari DiMercado has a good couple, maybe the rest of the season. Or if they're really interested in getting a serviceable running back, they might trade for Zach Moss in a couple of weeks. But we'll see.
Nice. I like how you linked them there. Very nice. My second one is I'm a bit torn here because I know our boys listen to this. So you know I've been burnt on this waiver wire before. But I'm going to throw up Tyjae Spears here, the Titans running back, and you know he's rookie running back. Love watching him. Not quite up there with Bijan Robinson in terms of his cutting and that, but he's explosive. He's great to watch, and he's slowly building himself a role in this team now. He's pretty much the pass catching back. You know, we know Derrick Henry, you know, gets a lot of work on the ground, but to be honest, he's been a bit slow starting this year, I think. You know, whether that's the offensive line, he's getting hit in the backfield a lot, which obviously slows him down. And Spears got his first rushing touchdown at the weekend. He had 4 receptions for 35 yards and 7 carries for 34 yards. So he's slowly building into the season, finding his role, and I think he might be one to look out for. We've said this a lot with teams with sort of an older running back and a younger running back. And, you know, the younger running back is that explosive back and your older running back is sort of that experience. And in Derrick Henry's sort of example, the main threat. But Tyjae's looking like he could flip the script, to be honest with you. And I am a Derrick Henry owner in one league that I'm a bit worried about. So if Tyjae Spears is out there on the waiver wire, I think he's one that you'll need to get now, because if he goes off in 1 week, you know, you're going to miss out on him. So he might be one to pick up and stash.
Yeah, a good call. I think especially in dynasty leagues, if you do play a dynasty league, he'd be one I'd be picking up. Derrick Henry's probably got 1 or 2 more good years in him. Ty G looks like the man to replace him. Bish, like you said, he looks really explosive. I like the way the offense runs, to be honest. I'll just give him a compliment as a whole. I like the mix of Derrick Henry, like I said, running down nice and hard and tough like he does, gets going and probably sets the example of what the team's going to do. And Ty J really takes the benefit of that, of when they might be looking elsewhere, getting the receiving action from Derrick Henry's tough running. It all works the same, and then as they set up different types of runs more in open space, they now have a man, that can run and do that. Where Derrick Henry, if you watch him even over the years, if they do any design runs, that's out, and he might cut out and go into space. He's not the most effective at that. They do have a man now that can do it, so it gives a nice blend to the offense, and it's been pretty good for him. They've had a few tough losses, but they've had some good wins as well, and hopefully, I think as they're figuring it out, but it looks like they're figuring it out more and more and finding that balance. And yeah, they're a team again that I like to watch. I do like my running backs, as I've said in multiple shows. Bish, let's finish off. We've got the punters. We've got our segment, the punters, the best kicker of the week. I'm just going to rattle one off and give some love to an offense that we've been getting stuck into the last couple of probably every game this season up until this week is Cincinnati Bengals. I think this man Evan McPherson, get him in your team. They're starting to get it together. They're a team that did have such a good offense last week. Last year, obviously last week now had the first good game of the season. Let's hope it carries on. And obviously, as a kicker, them higher touchdowns, you get that higher floor, and he becomes at least playable.
Yeah, fair play. You know, he had, I think, it was the Rams Super Bowl, wasn't it? When he was sort of, I think that was his rookie year, and making a bit of headlines, and he was out there watching the Super Bowl show at halftime, and yeah, so he's a bit of a character, isn't he? So yeah, it's a good pick, and I'm going to go with Greg Zuerlein here, Greg the Leg, for the Jets. You know, a big game that one, the Jets for the Broncos. You know, Sean Payton had said Nathaniel Hackett did the worst job possible. You know, when he took over from him at the Broncos. So Greg sort of kicked himself to victory here, giving Nathaniel Hackett the match ball. You know, it's a big win for the Jets there. And he's like I said, he's kicked 5 field goals and 2 extra points in a 31-21 win there. So yeah, Greg the Leg, a former Ram. So yeah, I'm behind him every step of the way.
Greg the Leg, we'll end the stream with that one. Greg the Leg, well done, and hope you carry on kicking as well as you do. Oh, Bish, give us your final message.
Like, subscribe. Any questions? Get them in. Obviously, another London game this week. The Titans v the Ravens. I'm going to, so I'm looking forward to that one. Get to see Derrick Henry and Taji Spears in the flesh. So yeah, that'll be great. But yeah, another week wrapped up. Concentrate on this week, and we'll see what happens tonight. Good luck, Joe.
Thank you, Bish. I think I'll be needing it, but hopefully Christian Watson can get a touchdown, and I'll go into the next week 5-0. Come on.